Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this narration of the web series Why Humans Avoid War, taken from Reddit. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 16. Rykov Point of View. The flagship's arrival was heralded by a wave of death. Its seamless blend of brutish kinetic weaponry and newfangled plasma bolts mowing down everything in its path. There were no pauses, no reprieves, just an unyielding stream of destruction. Bottled into the narrow street, the Xanax soldiers could be picked off like fish in a barrel. There was something almost beautiful in its execution, in the same way an onlooker could appreciate a surgeon's skill in dissecting a patient. I was trying to forget the green blood drenched in my hands and the lifeless alien body lying beside me, long enough to relay coordinates over my headset. Calling down fire so close to my soldier's position was, of course, dangerous. A single breakdown in communication would find the Terran forces on the receiving end of the cannon's volley. I was responsible for all the lives under my command. For my men's sake, I couldn't afford to let emotions overtake me. Yet, the unwanted thoughts crept in all the same. General Kylon had his flaws, but he had proved to be a steadfast ally at a time when those were in short supply. I liked him, often considering him with the same regard as my own crew. It had been my idea to bring him along, and though I never could have imagined the bloodbath that transpired, I felt responsible for his fate. I couldn't let him die. The safe move was to sit back and wait for the dust to settle, but by then, it would be too late. The silhouette flashed at the edge of my vision, and I quickly raised my rifle. "Don't shoot!" It was Pavel, who had a red-soaked bandage wrapped around his leg. There was a mix of human and non-human blood on his shirt, which indicated that he had hit on the torso as well. "I know I look bad, but you should see the other guy." I gritted my teeth. I did see the other guy. It was uncalled for, and now my friend is dying because of you. I realized too late that I had referred to the Kylon as a friend. Pavel's eyes flickered over to the general's body, and I could almost see the gears turning in his head. He didn't say anything, but his thoughts were evident from his expression. He found my attachment to a long-time Federation officer naive and premature. "Let me see," Pavel muttered, crouching beside the general with a grimace. "Down by a single gut shot. I'll try patch him up." My brother slipped a knapsack off of his shoulders, retrieving a portable first aid kit from inside. I turned my attention back to the battlefield as he began to suture the wound. A large group of Xanax soldiers were sheltering in the lobby of the luxury hotel down the road. Perhaps they thought taking refuge inside would save them from the flagship's wrath. I ordered a bomb dropped on the building, and watched as moments later it imploded on itself, as easily as a house of cards. There was a grim certainty in my mind that the unit was buried, or rather, crushed by the rival. With their numbers dwindling, I expected a dozen or so remaining Xanax soldiers to surrender to the Terran Union at any moment. Sure enough, I saw a cluster of them walking backwards towards our front line, holding their rifles above their heads. The equivalent of a white flag back on Earth. "Hold your fire! Disarm and restrain them! Nothing else!" I spoke into my headset, shooting a pointed look at Pavel. "I don't want the POWs harmed in any way. Do you understand me?" I thought my brother was too absorbed in the general's injuries to hear, but he nodded in acknowledgement. "We're two sides of the same coin, Mikhail. We do what needs to be done for the greater good, and we keep your hands clean." I sighed. The agency had its uses. It helped present a unified image of Earth to the galactic community, when in reality, our regional governments still squabbled over every menial policy. It swept diplomatic incidents under the rug, like the time the Hodal caught a handful of our spies copying sensitive documents. It provided the foundation of a military intelligence, keeping us posted on Federation military capabilities. Not that we were particularly impressed. Their Machiavellian attitude, however, left a lot to be desired. "Keep telling yourself that, if that helps you sleep at night," I grumbled. "How's the general?" To my eyes, it wasn't apparent whether the Chari was still breathing. The discoloration of his skin had turned him as pale as a corpse, and I feared that he might well be dead. "Your, friend," Pavel lingered on the word friend, toned sharp with distaste, "has lost a lot of blood. He needs a transfusion, and a miracle. I only have human blood here." I frowned. "You're saying he's going to die?" "I'd say it's likely. You can try and get him to the flagship, pump him full of fluids, put him on a life support. But that's a shot in the dark," he replied. I sucked in a deep breath. "Okay. All right. That's something. I'll summon the shuttle. I thought those were too risky to fly. The Federation could shoot them down. We just saved their rears. They better not. And anyways, we have to try. Micha, I doubt it'll make any difference. They're not built like us. His heart is too weak. That's the problem. What if we gave him the serum? It improves strength, recovery time, and almost importantly, cardiovascular function." You can't be serious." The serum was a layman's way of referring to genetic nanotechnology, which was used to enhance our soldiers through gene manipulation and regenerative therapy. While humans were hardier than most aliens to begin with, the nanites mending his tissue in real time were the reason Pavel was still standing, despite being shot twice. Genetic engineering was a state secret, since it was prohibited by galactic law. Honestly, the ban existed for sensible reasons. The Federation was concerned about long-term impacts on a species' gene pool. Humanity wasn't exactly a risk-averse species, though, and was happy enough to experiment in the field on the down-low. Earth's affairs weren't closely monitored, at least while the Federation had considered it a pacifist planet. "I'm dead serious. It could work," I said. "Think about it logically for a second. He's not human, and it's never been tested on an alien species," Pavel replied. "We have no idea how it'll affect him. Might even kill him. He's gonna die anyways. What have we got to lose? Let's say he lives. You think he won't figure out what we did? Then he'll spill the beans to the Federation, and we'll be right back on their shit list. Hell, what happens when he tells them that we assassinated Kazel? Kylon's not loyal to the Federation. We can trust him. You think that we can afford to take that sort of risk? We'd have to keep him on Earth permanently, to be sure." "That won't be necessary. I think I can get him to defect of his own free will." Pavel's eyes shot up in surprise. The idea of a Terran Union recruiting a high-profile Federation officer to our ranks must have been sufficient temptation, because he began rummaging through his knapsack. He retrieved a small vial of clear liquid, filled a syringe, and injected the general without another word. I wasn't convinced that I could follow through with bringing Kylon to our side, with how honor-bound his species was. It was unclear whether he even considered abandoning his home world. But what was important now was saving his life. I paced back and forth as I radioed for a medevac. My gaze kept drifting back to the general, studying his form for the smallest sign of hope. There was no immediate change in the Jatari's condition, but I hoped the serum could give him a fighting chance. End of chapter. The algorithm reckons you should be watching this video next, and I recommend that you should be always watching my video. So, click with energy! And yes, clicking that does help the channel. Thank you very much. I just want to give a quick thanks to the Tier 5 patrons and channel members. Ithilia, Barky, Fudic Yol, Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholtz, White Van 420, Lord Azrekahl, Arcalian, and Oakfield.